This is Ion Bright's hair color in semi-permanent. There are 27 shades, it's about $10, and you can grab it at Sally's. These colors do not need a developer. All you need is literally just this tube of hair color. However, they do have a permanent Brights line, and the packaging is the exact same. The permanent line does need a developer, and the color for the permanent line will actually come out white when you're squeezing it out of the tube. The semi-permanent hair color will come out already colored or pigmented. It's going to look exactly like the swatch. So if you accidentally grab the permanent one and try to apply it the way the semi-permanent one's going to be applied without developer, it's not going to do anything. So again, this is semi-permanent, which means eventually it's going to fade out, versus permanent hair color that lasts the longest, that grows out with lines of demarcation. Semi-permanent hair color just fades out. Pretty much all it's doing is staining the hair shaft. It usually only lasts about 8 shampoos, and it's recommended when you have fantasy colors like this to avoid pools, obviously for the high amount of chemicals, and you're gonna try to always use cool to cold water when you're shampooing your hair. That's gonna help keep the color more vibrant and it will fade less, but you're still only going to get about that 8 shampoo range. Any shade of hair can use this color line, but obviously the results will vary. If you're wanting it to be true to swatch, what you see on the box, on the little hair at Sally's, the colored hair at the end, the swatch, your hair needs to be in this range. Level 10, which is the brightest blonde. Probably the biggest complaint with this hair color and hair colors like this in general is the hair color isn't vibrant. If your canvas or what you're coloring isn't almost white, which is bleach blonde with a little tint of yellow, it's not going to be as vibrant as the swatch. When you see those hair color swatches at Sally's or any supply store, they're using that color on white hair. So it's gonna show the best possible result. For example, this is one of my favorite ones, magenta. This hair color swatch is a level 10, brightest blonde. This is what the magenta looks like after 45 minutes of processing time. Now, if you have darker hair, like this swatch, this is what it will look like on that darker shade. When you're putting this over darker levels, you do wanna be mindful of color theory or the color wheel. For example, you bleach your hair and it's yellow. This Furby's beak yellow, and you put azure, azure, it's one of the colors. It's a light blue. When you mix yellow and blue together, you get green. So your hair color may turn green. There's a lot of factors to consider, the porosity of your hair, how yellow it is, but for the most part, it may turn green. And if it doesn't turn green initially, when you shampoo it out, the undertone of that will probably be green. So you may just want to take a quick look at the color wheel before you make a decision on your color, just to make sure you're not going to get an unwanted tone. Now, if you're in the darker range here, and let's say you have like a level 5, and it's got red tints to it, and you don't really like that, you can go through and put one of these hair colors with green in it, dilute it with conditioner, and leave it on for about 15 to 20 minutes, and that way you will do a toner and cancel that red out. You can use these colors in that way also. Another pretty one, if you're in these darker levels, is to put the blue one on it. Not the azure, the light blue, but the dark blue, so you can have that dark hair color with a blue tint. Now, these hair colors are not going to cover up gray. Here it is on a gray swatch, and you can see it only picked up the lighter parts of the gray. Gray hair is very unpredictable, and there's so many different shades and types of gray hair. This is a salt and pepper, so it's got dark, white, and silver inside. Some people have completely white hair. Some people have completely silver hair. But for this particular swatch, it's only picking up those parts of gray or silver that are really, really light in that 9-10 range. This next one is Jade, which is a teal. It's a mix between blue and green. Here it is on level 10 hair. It's really beautiful, but because it's a mix of blue and green, when it fades out, this particular color does tend to fade out green. If you don't like that, you can refresh these colors. They're not really damaging your hair because they're not mixed with that developer. And this darker orange shade, it is beautiful. It gives it a really nice deep emerald green. And on the gray, it picks up a very deep color as well. To apply these, you just paint it on. You can do it all over, root to ends, put it in foils, just do a fashion piece, tips, whatever you're doing, you just put it on. You want to wear gloves, it will stain your hands, your fingernails, and it gets a little messy, so maybe a towel cape around yourself. It is a super thick color. It's not like Manic Panic or Brad Mondo's, where it's more of a, I can't think of the word, but it's like lotion. It's a creamier consistency. It goes on a little bit better. This is super thick. With that, you may need more than one tube tube if you have thick or longer hair. You can also intermix these. You'll want to refer back to color theory, but you can mix colors together to create custom colors. You can also make these shades lighter or even make pastel colors with these. Ion makes a color diluter. It looks like this. It's going to be in the gray box. The more you add to your hair color, the lighter it will get. For example, here's the jade with the diluter. It's a lot lighter than this one, which is just right out of the tube. And here it is on the darker orange hair, pooling pretty green, and here it is on the gray hair. Honestly, I wouldn't even purchase this. I would use a thick conditioner, even a conditioning mask. It's going to do the same thing. When you're mixing it, these semi-permanent hair colors, remember, whatever is out of the tube, that's what it's going to look like. So as you're mixing it, you'll be able to see the actual color you're going to get. I would recommend measuring this though. So if you're going to use an ounce of hair color and you're going to match it with an ounce of conditioner, or you can do a tablespoon of color and a half a tablespoon of conditioner, whatever you're doing, make sure you measure it, because if you just eyeball it, do half the head and have to go back and remix the formula, and this one's too dark, that will just avoid that problem. The processing time is 20 to 40 minutes. To get the brightest color, I would suggest 40 minutes. You can leave this hair color on longer, but honestly, this color line and most hair color lines that are semi-permanent stop processing at about 45 minutes. So if you leave it on for an hour, 2 hours, some people even sleep in it. It's really not doing anything. 45 minutes is kind of the staple for when hair color just stops. You do want to cover it up, a shower cap. I think you get 10 of these at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. This hair color is already so thick, it's gonna dry out, so make sure it is covered. And when it's done processing, you just rinse it out. You don't have to shampoo it, you just rinse it out till you get all the hair color out. If you want to refresh this color after the 8 shampoos or whenever, it's really not that bad for your hair because no developer is being used. You can just slap it on, give it a refresh.